Oh, okay. So we're from Cleveland High School, and we're doing a service learning project, and it's pretty much trying to get community hours to really look into something that helps the environment, helps people in our community, and helps the world just be a kind of better place. And what we did, we looked up AIDS, and we found your organization, and we thought it was very interesting. So we decided to give you a call. And so APLA it funds it specifically helps people with AIDS, right? And so how did it get started?
It started in 1982 with four friends who um, had friends that were coming down with the disease, and so they decided they wanted to help. So they began to try to raise money for research, for medical treatment, however they could help, and it just grew from there.
And how does APLA get funded?
We get funded mostly through OAPP, which is the Office of AIDS Standards, Office of AIDS Practices and Policies, which is a federal organization. We also get some state funding, some city funding from City of Los Angeles, and a lot of private donations. Just like we have a lot of fundraisers throughout the year, like our AIDS Walk, which we have in September, and that raised almost $2 million last year. We also have events that we do with Macy's and our marathon, and they also help to raise money.
And has the economic crisis affected APLA?
Certainly, with last year's budget, the governor cut almost $80 million out of the budget for AIDS research and treatment, and that doesn't just go to our organization; it goes to all the organizations in the state. But another $54 million was cut out of this year's budget, and so it's impacted us quite a bit. And plus, that also means our private donations are down as well because people just don't have the money to give.
And what are the requirements to be eligible for the services that APLA provides?
Well, obviously, you have to have a positive diagnosis as being infected with HIV. You have to show proof of income, and you have to go through a nutrition screening so that you are educated as to how to manage your diet in living with HIV and how it will interact with the medications you'll be taking during your treatment.
And how was the food selected that they distribute that?
We try to provide a balanced diet, uh, mostly staples, rice, beans, fruits and vegetables, fresh and frozen, canned, and then proteins such as dairy and meat, things like that. So occasionally we get things that would be considered treats or snacks, but the things that we uh, mainly solicit and that we actually purchase when necessary are staple items.
And how does APLA raise awareness of AIDS?
We actually have a whole group of people, whole department that uh, lobbies in Washington, D.C. for AIDS policies across the country. We also solicit locally with uh, community leaders and state representatives to change laws, to fund organizations like this, and we work with different doctors and healthcare providers in different sectors in trying to um, get them to educate themselves on AIDS and how it's treated, and so that everyone gets a better degree of treatment and everyone's more aware of how it's contracted, how it's transmitted, and how to treat it.
Has there ever been an occasion where you've experienced the positive effect APLA has on an individual?
Certainly, I experience that all the time. I talk to clients on a regular basis, and very many of them express to us how the program helps them in various ways, whether it be helping them find a job, helping them find housing, um, just feeding them. I had a client that came to me last week, and we had a schedule change because of some things that were going on within the program, and so he didn't come on his shopping day, and he came to me and asked, if there was any way I could help him out, and um, when we can, we do. And he is a regular client here who shops here, so we checked him in just like we normally would, and I gave him his food. And he made a point of coming back the next week and thanking me personally, as well as speaking to my boss and telling her that he was happy that I helped her.
Oh, that's great. And what advice would you give the avid person in regards to AIDS and what they could do?
Get tested. No matter what social group you come from, no matter what ethnicity you come from, everyone's at risk. Some higher than others. Latinos and blacks are amongst the highest of undiagnosed infections. They don't like to get tested. Many of them don't like to admit that they might have put themselves in risky situations, and so very many of them don't get tested. But that also means that women are amongst the highest group of undiagnosed infections because they're getting it from their boyfriends and husbands who are getting it on the side or somewhere else in some other manner, and of course not telling them. So no matter where you come from, you're at risk, and so you should get tested without a doubt.
Do you think getting HIV/AIDS tested should be one of the standard tests, like they do a blood test and a urine test? Do you think they should probably consider it as being a standardized test?
I would say if you haven't been married at least 10 years, when you go get your annual checkup, you should be tested. Absolutely. Especially if you're not married and you're having sex with more than one partner or have had sex with more than one partner within the last several years, then you absolutely should get tested.
Okay.
Without a doubt.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for taking your time and having our interview with us.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to speak to you.